Welcome to the Healing Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Rowana Abbensetts-Dobson. I'm a Black woman, a writer, an author, a wife, and a mom. Through my ups and downs with depression and anxiety, I've become intentional about healing, learning my history, developing self-love, and finding joy in every moment. As a mental health advocate and a publisher of Black women writers, I am deeply aware of the power of the voice and the importance of making sure all voices are heard. On this podcast, I hope to share my journey as well as introduce you to remarkable guests whose voices have been life-changing for me. I hope this conversation opens up a new possibility of greatness for you in your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Healing Entrepreneur Podcast. Today we have a really special guest. Dr. Laura Lewis is a dynamic and passionate mental health speaker dedicated to transforming workplace cultures. With over 20 years of experience in the mental health field, Dr. Laura Lewis brings a wealth of knowledge and personal experience to every presentation. Having delivered over 1,000 speaking engagements, Dr. Lois is an internationally recognized speaker and best-selling author. Dr. Laura, we are so happy to have you.
Thanks for having me, Rowana. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So, Spoken Black Girl, my publishing company, is all about mental health and wellness and really raising awareness, especially for Black women, on how we can thrive and also use storytelling as a tool to, fuel our healing journeys, okay? Or at least that's what it's definitely been for me. Um, and I've been on this entrepreneurship journey over the last couple of years. It's been like a while now. It's gonna be 2026 soon. So like maybe 10 years. Like I can't believe it. Um, but one thing that I'm definitely very familiar with is burnout and burnout in entrepreneurship. So that's the first thing I want to talk to you about. But before we get into that, I just want to you to kind of like introduce yourself to our listeners and let us know like how you became Dr. Laura Lewis doing all of these amazing things and traveling all over the world for speaking engagements and things like that. Uh, so if you could just give us a little intro to you and then we'll get into burnout.
Sure, absolutely. So the question is just to maybe talk a little bit about myself and how did I get here? Is that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. All right. I've been in the mental health field for over 20 years as a psychologist, counseling people, helping them with their mental health. The reason why I went into this field is because I saw in my community, in the Black community, I saw my mom as a healer. So, my mom is a therapist. She's been a therapist for over 40 years. And so, I really got a chance to observe what being a healer looks like vicariously through her, which I absolutely adore my mother. Um, she's taught me everything that I know. So I started off with just being curious about like mental health, around like how do we manage our emotions? How do we have fulfilling relationships? So that's where it started. And then after doing it for some time, over a decade, I started to speak. And with speaking has taken me all over the world: Haiti, Brazil, Europe, London, Paris, Spain, like everywhere. I think I've gone to like maybe 35 countries. So yeah, I love to travel and I love to speak. And so I started speaking at a real like small level, like maybe a group of 25 people. And now I've been on stages with over like speaking to audiences of over thousands of people. And so I was nervous about it. I was like, oh, takes, all the imposter syndrome stuff came up. So I kind of pushed through that, which that was challenging, but I was able to push through like my own insecurities and and start speaking. Then colleagues of mine would ask me like, "Well, how you get started with that? Like, how'd you get like on NBC or ABC or Wall Street Journal?" And so I would just kind of tell them like in the DMs one on one, like, "This is something you should try," or like, "You have a voice, like you should share it." And then it kind of grew into a program that's called Paid to Speak, a mastermind program where I teach healers, coaches, therapists how they can get started with speaking. And so some of my clients have spoken in Paris, have closed out retreats, have launched their books, but it really started from a place of like, hey, this is something I think I want to do. And then I brought some people along the journey with me. And so now we have a community of over 3,000 aspiring speakers.
That is incredible. Bravo, bravo. And, getting past the nerves to tell your story is a huge deal. So we're going to get into that.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. It was a process of getting past the nerves and the, like, anxiety and just, really feeling like I have something to offer. But now I've done over 1,000 speaking engagements. I love to speak. Speaking is my jam, and I've been able to take my family with me. Like, I remember taking my mom to Paris and she started to cry. I was like, "Mama, why you crying?" And she said, like, "I never thought that I would see the Eiffel Tower. Like, I saw it on television, but I never thought I'd see it in person." And so that's one of the greatest things
Incredible.
that I'm really proud of is being able to share these experiences with my loved ones.
So that's incredible. And yes, you've brought so many along on the journey with you. And to me, that's the sign of a good leader. So, okay, we've got a lot to learn. So, with being a speaker and knowing so many other speakers, I bet that you see a lot of people going through burnout. So how do we recognize the patterns of burnout? How do we continue to thrive when we hit that wall?
Good question. So some of the signs that you are burnt out when you don't feel fulfilled by your work anymore. Maybe there was a time when you felt excited, you felt like, yes, I'm getting ready to do this, I can't wait. And then maybe you've gotten into a space where you no longer feel fulfilled by it. It doesn't have that same excitement or joy that it used to bring. Maybe you find yourself procrastinating on things. All of these are signs that you might be out of alignment. And alignment is basically like what I value, what I'm passionate about. It coincides with what my day looks like. So we know we're in alignment when those things level up, like what I'm interested in, what I value, and what I actually am doing on a day-to-day basis. They're aligned with each other. And we want to get there. We want to make sure that we maintain alignment.
I love that. That describes perfectly like what I feel like I've been going through lately. So I'm a writer, as like people know. And so it's so interesting that as I continue to follow that passion, it just continues to magnify and magnify. Like the opportunities that I attract get bigger and bigger. And that's alignment, baby. That is alignment because I'm just doing, what's mine to do, okay? What God gave me to do. All right.
Yes, that's
So
alignment.
yeah. So yeah, finding that. And maybe, like, sometimes, especially with entrepreneurship, it might be that maybe you need to pivot or maybe
Mhm.
like what you're doing doesn't fulfill you anymore. We change every day. So maybe that's not your sweet spot anymore. And that's why, you might be running into burnout. That's one my theory. You're the professional. So let me
Yeah,
know.
I definitely agree with what you're just saying that, like, our lives, our energy levels, our mood is all, like, giving us signs of, like, it's time to pivot. So when you notice that like your mood is like more uplifting when you are writing or when you're around certain people or having certain conversations, those are signals to let you know I need to go with this. I need to lean more into this. So we want to pay attention to our mood, our energy levels, like the excitement that we feel when we're doing a thing, like all of those things are signs that let us know, okay, I need to pivot and lean more into this.
Yes, leaning into our joy, right? Like more of that and just kind of being present in our bodies to know what feels good. Like that has been such a big thing for me lately. Like
I
I
love
realized
that.
that sometimes I was like I'd be sitting down but like slightly uncomfortable or something like that. And I'm like, "Hey, you could at any time make yourself more comfortable." You know what I'm saying? Really being in tune with our bodies, how we're feeling. Do you need some water? Do you need to sit down? That's me a lot of times. I need to sit down. What practical shifts can entrepreneurs make in their daily routines in order to stay in alignment first and foremost and just to sustain their creativity and their passion?
So some of the things that's really helpful for entrepreneurs to do is to dedicate some time either at the beginning of the day, or the beginning of the week, where you have time for quiet reflection. Right? Like we could get so busy in our days that we don't make time to think. And so I think that that's very important that we make time to think, to plan, to consider like, okay, this is what I want my day, my week, my life to look like. So on a practical level, what this could look like is taking 10 to 15 minutes at the beginning of each day for journaling, for writing these things down, for mindfulness. Like sometimes we need time of just quiet space. Like we can have so much of our day like filled in to the top of the schedule, but take 10 to 15 minutes at the beginning of the day for meditation, for reflection, for thinking about like, okay, what do I want for my life and decide. So I would say practically 10 to 15 minutes every day at the beginning of the day for this.
Yeah, and, when you put it like that, it's doable. It's definitely doable. If you need to put your journal, like, right next to your bed or something so that you just roll over and grab it, or, there's a quiet spot that you like to sit. I'm all for, creating the sanctuary. So maybe you want to create a little book nook or somewhere comfy where you go and sit and journal and contemplate.
I love what you said about the book nook. Yes. Yes to the book nook.
I know. I need to like customize my book nook. I just moved. So now I'm like anything is possible. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. Let me see. So in your work and in your experience, what part does rest play in productivity?
I love rest. Rest just is everything. I think rest is so important because it affects like how our brain functions. It affects like how we're able to problem solve. And some people think that, oh, I just need to work, 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 work. If I work more, I'll be more productive. But that is actually counterintuitive. That is not actually the case. It's in rest that we are restored. It's in rest that we're able to be more productive actually. And so I recommend that we really make time for rest, for our own creativity, for our innovation. And then also like for us to really have breakthroughs. It's in the stillness and not having constant motion that we're able to really gain some momentum towards our goals.
That part, that is so true, the in the stillness, and you have to, like, give yourself a chance to experience the stillness because, yeah, our lives are so go, go, go. Yeah, I love rest too, and I was recently watching this brain health documentary, and it's literally science. Our brains love rest, so whenever you can, I know it's not easy, a lot of us are like, either you're working all the time or a caretaker or, whatever the case may be, intentionally finding that time, whether it's going to sleep a little bit earlier, that's a big one for me because I get FOMO from like, I was busy all day. Now I'm up. I should be doing this. I have time. No, it's very productive to go to sleep. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's what I want everyone to walk away with, like, go
Me
take a
too.
nap. It's good for everything that you're doing, all your relationships, all your work. It's just good.
Yeah, I look at it like it's putting gas in the car. Like, how far is your car gonna go without any gas in it? Rest is us putting fuel in our tanks.
Period. All right. Okay. Hope everyone got the message. I feel like this is one of those things that especially for my audience of other like black women and black women creatives, we have to keep um repeating this rest mantra because it always feels like we have to work 10 times as hard to get, wherever we want to get. But, one of the things that we do as creatives is that we are often the storytellers of our brands, right? So storytelling is really important, especially like if we're going to be talking about public speaking. That's one of the things that like hooks people, right? But can we talk about how storytelling can be a form of self-care or, maybe in your own life how it has been a form of self-care?
Absolutely. I think that we are healed by the words of our testimony. So when we share experiences that we've had, I believe it literally heals us. Sometimes we can have shame attached to things that we have gone through. And sometimes when we feel shame, we might like suppress or isolate, like, oh my gosh, I don't want anybody to know this, and this. But that doesn't create healing. There's some wounds that need air to heal. Like, I think about, like, for myself, one of the things that I experienced in, my previous marriage was, infidelity, and I had so much shame tied to the infidelity. Like, am I not good enough, or is it something, am I unlovable? But as I started to share about that message, like, publicly in speaking, what I discovered is that there were other people that had experienced that exact same thing, like, other people that had experienced betrayal, and so as a result of sharing it, it helped me personally to heal and not isolate, and it also helped other people to heal because they didn't feel alone anymore.
Yes. There's that community element. Once you let that truth out, then other people can find that and find some comfort in the fact that you stood in your light, told your story, and healed yourself. So thank you for being like so honest and, forthright with that. Cause I do think that's a word and that might be someone's story out there right now, like, as we record and as they're listening. Certainly, I'm an editor, so I work with writers and a lot of times people don't want to, or sometimes people don't even want to bring their story to light, or they'll change your mind halfway through because it's so vulnerable. So it is good to know that, there is healing in that work.
Thank you.
So, that being said, for those who are nervous about vulnerability in storytelling, what are some safe entry points or some ways that you think they can get into that?
I would say start small, like start small in safe spaces. Like all spaces may not feel safe to start off with, but like your close friends or your faith communities or small groups, that's a great space to start with vulnerability and sharing your story because okay, these are people that I can trust, I can depend on, they have my back. And so I would say start with sharing those stories in those spaces. And then as you get more and more comfortable telling the story, then I would say then start to speak publicly about it. But start small, start in safe spaces, start with friends and family and then go into like more publicly speaking about it. For me, when I first shared my story at my, church as a Sunday school teacher, that felt safe to me, like, it felt safe because this is, like, my church family, and so once I did that, it was kinda like, "Okay, I can share with other people now," but it's because I had first shared it in environments that felt safe to be vulnerable.
So, we're back with Dr. Laura. And one thing that I really want to know earlier, you mentioned imposter syndrome and how you kind of went through that and overcame that. So, what advice would you give to someone who wants to tell their story on a larger stage, but they're experiencing this imposter syndrome?
So for me, the way the imposter syndrome came up is I didn't feel like I had what it took. And so I had this mentor, and I remember him saying, "Oh, they don't pay psychologists to speak." And at that time, I was kind of disappointed, deflated, like, "Oh man, I had this thing that I want to do, but the person that I look up to is basically saying, like, no, that's not reality. Like, that's not going to happen." And so, if there's any entrepreneurs out there, creative entrepreneurs, that maybe you are in that space of you have this thing that you want to do with speaking, but maybe you're feeling like there's nobody around me that is pouring into me or encouraging me or giving me the strategies that I need so that I could feel confident in what I'm doing. What I want you to know is I've been right there, right exactly there. And that's where I was at the beginning stages of starting this path of speaking. And so what I would say is get in community, get around people who are going to encourage you. Make sure that you are not even entertaining conversations with people who are going to put you down or make you feel like you don't have what it takes. Like don't spend a lot of time in those environments. Also, you wanna make sure that you are putting the work in, because one of the things that helps me with feeling confident about what I was doing was actually doing the work. So, the more I spoke, the more comfortable that I felt with speaking, the more feedback I got from people about my talks, and that helped me get better and better at it. So that's some of the advice that I would give to the creative entrepreneur out there who knows that they want to do it, but may be struggling a bit with imposter syndrome or fear around it.
Yes, get away from those naysayers. I know exactly what you're talking about, and people will so casually say what you can't do. Yeah, it's wild. But please let me know, what are some practical tips for people who want to get into public speaking, but they've never done it before? So you're just dipping your toe in. Where do we start?
I would say start with identifying your message. So when you think about the audience that you want to speak to and what you want to speak about, first get super clear on that. So this is when I think about teaching this audience, this is what some of their pain points are. These are some of the things that they are struggling with. And then get into your solution. So what I would offer to this community is this. So maybe a signature topic, like for example, for me, I teach healers and coaches how to book speaking engagements. And so the pain point of my audience is they don't know how to get started or they struggle with packaging and positioning themselves. Some of my audience also they come to me when they're looking to up level their brand, when they're looking to establish some brand credibility or social proof and get a real solid marketing strategy. So that's my audience. When I think about like what their pain points are, those are some of their pain points, and then my solutions as well. So I would say that's a really great starting point is to identify who do I want to speak to, what do I want to speak about, and a signature topic that you can rinse and repeat and speak over and over again about.
Yes, that's a great starting place. And anyone here who is an author or a writer should know exactly what you're talking about because you have to know your reader, right? You have to know your audience. Knowing your audience is everything. And then, having a topic that you're very well versed in and passionate about and you can speak about all day. So maybe that's somewhere that people can start is like, what could you just talk about all day and have all the facts and all the wisdom?
Yeah, I think so often, like, I know with, like, some of my clients, when they first come to me, they're like, "I can speak on anything." And I'm like, "No, we need to niche it down and get very clear about this is the lane of your, like, brilliance, and let's make sure that we are not, like, trying to talk to everybody, but we are very clear about this is the lane that you want to operate in."
Yes, that is so important. Thank you for shedding light on that. So what about where when you're trying to gain visibility as a speaker, should you be pitching yourself? Where should you look for opportunities?
So this is one of the topics that I teach on in depth in my Pay to Speak Mastermind, which is a 1-year program, and we go from, like, "I think I wanna speak," to, like, booking consistent high dollar $10 to $20,000 speaking engagements. So I would say one of the things that I'll kinda share with you, some of the things that I share with them. Organizations that pay people to speak are colleges, corporations, conferences, and churches. Those are some of the main organizations that have a budget for speaking.
So, y'all, we already know, we can see that Dr. Laura has the gems and the knowledge. So, please go check out her mastermind course. And of course, I will be linking that in the description of this episode. So, go find out, how to get your bag while growing as a speaker and telling your story and healing, through storytelling and all of that good stuff. And traveling the world. Okay, Dr. Laura gonna tell you how to travel the world. So it has been like such a pleasure speaking to you. And you've brought like so much like wisdom and value to this conversation. Like, please let people know where they can connect with you and how we can support your work.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's Couch to Podium on Instagram. And I have a free gift for you guys as well. So our speaker starter kit, it's a free gift where you're able to like put your pitch together. I have some sample pitches in there to help you kind of get started with reaching out to organizations to kind of take some of the guesswork out of like, what do I say? How do I frame this email? Or how do I close this email? I have a template and an example of a sample pitch in our speaker starter kit. And so we'll make sure that you have the link for that.
Yes, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much for creating that and sharing that. And that sounds like an amazing resource. Go find Dr. Laura Lewis on Instagram, Coach to Podium. And hopefully, we'll be hearing from people booking their first speaking engagement soon. Okay,
Yes,
putting y'all
let's
to work.
speak it. Let's do it.
Um, but thank you so much for speaking to us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Rwanda. It was great being on your show today.